Welcome to the Wisdom Window on Strong Island Radio. The Wisdom Window is your portal to timeless knowledge and understanding. Join us each episode as Maddi and Marianne Franzese examine ancient and current wisdom traditions and apply these teachings to today's unique challenges. So let's get started and welcome your hosts, Maddi and Marianne.
Hello and welcome to the Wisdom Window. I'm Maddi Cheers and I'm here with my co-host, Marianne Franzese. Hi, Mare.
Hi, Maddi.
And today we are very pleased to bring you the wisdom of comedy, how laughter takes us from the darkness to the light, with our very special guest, John Larocchia, who is retired after 21 years with the FDNY. He is also a comedian and was one of the first responders during 9/11. He lost 3/4 of his house during that tragedy, that horrible tragedy that we all remember, and started a foundation as a result of that called Laughter Saves Lives, to remember his brothers who were lost during that and their families. So I actually want to turn it over to John right away and talk to you about, I pulled up a quote here from Charlie Chaplin, where he says, "Life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in long shot." So John, tell us how this all came about for you and how that tragedy applies to becoming a comedy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, ladies.
So nice to have
So
your
nice.
energy
Nobody
here.
wanted me at home, so this was nice. I had somewhere to go. After 9/11, I did a show. Let me start with this. I did a show in Pennsylvania. I don't remember how many months after 9/11, but just to get out, get on a stage again was very therapeutic. And the local paper came out and interviewed me. And in her article, she said, "I like the way that John made fun of 9/11. And I went, "Oh my God, what are you talking about?" We use laughter as a way to remember my guys. They always made me laugh.
Right.
And after 9/11, I was sad. I was angry. I was stressed. I was distraught. I was a mess, right? Mess.
Yeah.
And I could have just crawled up in the corner and, we were working 24 hours off, 24 hours on. And at one point, I said, I need to get back on stage. I need to laugh again. I need to get people to laugh again. So I did that, and that was not easy, and it was not easy to laugh in the firehouse, because every time you'd laugh in the firehouse, you'd go, "Ooh, that felt great, but maybe that's not right." And then one day, there was a warehouse started downtown, and people were sending from all over the country stuff for firemen and cops, free stuff. And if you don't firemen and cops, that's our motto. If it's free, it's for me, right? What is it? Doesn't matter. It's free, right? So we go in there one day, and they had hats in the shape and color of fruit, winter hats. So the captain looks at us and goes, "Hey, guys, don't touch those hats. I don't want to see any of you. Cap, what are we going to do with those hats?" Somebody distracted him. The next run off the truck, everybody's wearing one of the hats. And it's the first time I can remember as a group, we all laughed.
Oh. Yeah.
And we brought our guys into the laughter. It was always like, what Dennis would do here? You know what Tommy would do here? He would say this, So firemen are tough. They're tough in a number of ways. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to, and that was a real fight to get guys to go to counseling, to go to therapy. And I did it. I was involved with Marriage Encounter, so I knew how important it was to share feelings. But then it came to a point where laughter also is going to help you heal. And I said, man, after all the funerals and the memorials and the crying, and I want to make people laugh as a way to remember them now. Right. And that's how I started the Laughter Saves Lives Foundation. It was out of that, let's make people laugh, raise money for cool charities, get people out, all in memory of not only the guys lost on 9/11 in our mission statement, but those who continue to be lost. Yeah. So that's how I started the foundation.
That's really beautiful. And makes a lot of sense in a way, because when I was listening to your intro, I thought, Oh my God, 3/4.
19 members, 45 children lost a dad in my firehouse.
Right. And you were left alive. And with that, there's the feeling of the miracle that you're here, but also the guilt that you're here. And what do you make with the rest of your
Yes.
life? Like, how do you go on? And to go on through this idea of laughter as cathartic, right, as a way to connect and release is very enlightening, because it's not making light of what happened
Right.
in 9/11, but it is bringing the light back into your hearts after they were so broken completely.
Yes.
And it also brought me to another thought. When my daughter Mary, she's my youngest, was
How
a
old is she?
little girl, she's now 22.
Okay, my
When
daughter's
she-
20.
So when she was about 6 or 7, she wakes up and she's like, Mom, I had this dream last night and you can't believe what I was told. I'm like, what were you told? She said, I was told that God speaks in laughter. I'm like, Mary,
Wow.
that is profound. I will never, ever forget this. And please don't you ever forget this, I had said to her. And I thought that is like the universal, not just language of God, but also the translation of enlightenment.
Yeah.
Right? How do we become enlightened?
Yeah.
So the very fact that you took something so deeply devastating and literally rose out of the ashes to bring laughter into the hearts of people again.
And
is
part
triumph.
of that is it's you look in the mirror and you go, okay, never forget, right? Everybody was saying that. But then at one point you go, all right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to never forget? Because it's easy to say, and I didn't look at anybody else. I looked at myself and I said, well, what can you do? And through the foundation, we have put shoes on homeless veterans. We have done free shows for St. Albans Veterans Hospital, World War II vets, to see the widows and the children sometimes in my audience laughing. Also, I do these dopey videos on Facebook. They're 30 seconds, 45 seconds, mostly with my grandchildren. And I can't tell you how many times, I Kiss the Baby or Johnny Plug. Initially, everything was Kiss the Baby, today I'm going to go to the supermarket or whatever. But you know what I'm going to do? And I would pull out the baby's face on the video there. I'm going to kiss this little baby, and I would come out and kiss. And people would go, I can't tell you how much that video did for me today. Mm-hmm. A really cool story. Ray Pfeiffer was a firefighter who fought for us down in D.C. 9/11 cancer, in a wheelchair with Jon Stewart or whatever. And Ray passed away. And the Ray Pfeiffer Foundation continues on. So as a representative of my foundation, much smaller, I go to some of these events, show my face, we make donations. And a woman comes up to me and she goes, John, I just want to tell you, she goes, thank you, I want to tell you that you make me laugh. Mm-hmm. And I said, I can't tell you how much that means to me, but can I ask you, who are you? And she looks at me, she goes, you don't know who I am? I go, I'm an idiot. I go, I apologize. She says, I'm Ray Pfeiffer's wife. Oh. So I said, wait a second. Are you telling me when Ray was at his worst, when he was sick, some days you looked at a video of mine and it made you laugh? Wow. And she said, yeah, I can cry now about it. And I said, you don't know what that means to me. Because we're doing it. We're doing what we set out to do.
Yes.
Our first big show was Tommy Lukowski, East Brunswick, New Jersey. I think it's East Brunswick, West Brunswick. On this side of the river, it doesn't matter to us, right?
Right.
It's over there somewhere,
It's
Brunswick.
that way.
Yeah. Tommy was 14, a volunteer firefighter, bone cancer, many, many surgeries, 18 years old. We do a show for him in a beautiful theater over there. We raise a few $1,000s. His mother comes up to me after the show and says, John, this is the first time since Tommy got sick, we're all together and we laughed.
Wow.
And I said, we did it. If we
did it.
didn't make a dime for them that night, we did it.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And Tommy passed away 3 years ago. And at his wake were more pictures of that comedy show than anything else.
Wow.
And I had him on a radio show afterwards. And he goes, John, that was the best night of my life. It was the best night of my life.
And
we're doing it, you know?
And that's the point. I think that the point of you doing it is where it ties into wisdom, because a lot of people think that wisdom is we're sitting around and reading the sages and we're listening to all the wisdom. It's the doing, it's the putting into action. All these people like Charlie Chaplin, he didn't just say life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in long shot. He made these movies that made the whole world laugh.
Right.
He made movies, that were social commentary, that were hysterically funny, but were really, The Little Dictator, and his whole commentary on Hitler. This comedy is and has always been in the tradition of it. And our culture, Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor, has always been a commentary also on what's going on in the world.
Sure.
And the thing about comedy and stand-up comedy is it's an action. The thing about your foundation, it's an action. And what we forget when we're sitting around talking about all the world's great wisdom is that all the world's great wise people did stuff. They put the wisdom into action. They didn't come to the wisdom because they were sitting meditating on a hill.
Right.
They did things, and then we recognize the wisdom in this. And I think that's very important.
And also that, you were always a comedian. And so in the time of great loss, right, I do a lot of work with grief. You became more of who you actually are. Right? You were a guy who could make people laugh.
And so were they. If you've ever been in a firehouse,
yes, they're a
there's
team.
so many funny guys, and people would come up to me and go, "You're the comic?"
Right.
Like, Dennis is funnier than you. And I would say, they are. I listen to them, and then I take their material and I get paid for it. I use it on
That's
stage.
wonderful.
But they were all such funny guys.
So the nature of the group, of the ensemble, right, of the firefighters was comedy. And so a piece of it is your own salvation, right? I will, what will become of me if I don't stand up and make people laugh again. Right. And then this other element to it, Maddi, I was thinking about was the give back, the charitable heart. So it is, I'm saving myself and I am saving someone else in some way too by giving. Like, so the sharing continues.
Oh, it feels great.
It really is very special.
These comics, a lot of new comics I produce shows for, I have a production company on the side of the foundation. You're having a birthday party, you want 2 comics, it's going to cost you $800,000. That's my business, all right? But then I do other shows through the foundation, like the one we're doing at the brokerage, August 18th. I got that plug in there, bada bing.
Good.
No, tell us. What are you doing
August
at the
18th, we're doing a show at the brokerage. All the shows are in memory of my guys. It's part of the new Laughter Saves Lives Heroes Tour, where we're spotlighting certain comics that are fire, police, EMS, healthcare workers, teachers, right? And we're raising money for 4 different charities.
Wow.
Laughter Saves Lives, The Inn, which is a food pantry, Heather Pendergast Fund, which assists Long Island firefighters who have high medical bills from sick children, and General Needs, which is the ones that we assisted with buying needy stuff for veterans who are homeless or needy.
Beautiful.
So we're doing that show August 18th, and it's a way to remember my guys. My shows have heart now. It's not just a comedy show.
Yes.
It's come out, we're doing some good work, doing it in memory of Dennis and Tommy. We're going to have a ball, and people are going to benefit from this. And my sponsors, so if I don't make money that night for the charities, doesn't matter. I have sponsors. I write out a check anyway. Right. That's what the sponsors are there for. So it's a real feel-good night, and I'm so glad you guys are going to be there. Did I sell you? Did I sell you?
Yes.
I would love to be there.
Yeah, I would love to be there.
Totally. And again, so much of the wisdom that we're discovering, right, Maddi, is this combination of heart, the infusion of heart into humanity. And when you just said, like, our show has heart, this is more than entertainment. Right? So it becomes elevated.
To me it is, and hopefully when they leave, they feel it. What I was going to say is my comics, they want to work for me. They want to do shows. Well, the first show before COVID, and we'll get back to they always had to do was St. Albans Veterans Hospital.
Wow.
Very little pay, come on a Sunday afternoon, hot and cold. These guys, and I say, show up early because we're wheeling the guys down. They don't have the help there. You're going to wheel the guys from the floor into the rec room, do your shtick. We're going to give them some fruit, and you're wheeling them back. And you know, if you're what? Jim Delakis, international headliner. Johnny, I can't tell you how much that walk from the floor to the rec room meant to me talking to that veteran.
Wow.
Because nobody visits some of these guys. They don't have families.
Yeah.
One guy was in a coma. He was captured by the Germans, ended up in an American hospital 8 months later. Doesn't know how he got there.
Wow.
And they tell these stories, and they want to tell the stories. And so it's more than a comedy,
Yes.
show. It's
Connection.
Hey, we're here for you. And they don't laugh much.
Right.
They fall asleep. They're
They're a tough audience.
Yeah, I always say, wheel them back. Hey, you fell asleep half the show. You sure you want us to come back? And they look at you and they go, thanks for not forgetting us. Thanks for coming.
And I think that is the big thing. It's the not forgetting. It's the listening to the stories. My dad passed away a year ago during lockdown.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh, thanks. And he was a funny guy. And his stories of growing up in a tenement on Coney Island, sharing a water closet with 3 families, and one of my aunt's first dates where they had to make a table out of a piece of cardboard and stick it on a spool, and she was dating a big guy who leaned on the table and the whole tabletop came off. But the stories that the 3 of them told about growing up
And the laughter. They had
hysterical.
nothing. They had nothing. And they laughed.
Exactly.
My dad, we grew up in Middle Village, Queens. My dad is still there. He's 88, veteran. Giovanni, I'll tell you a whole funny story about his name, Giovanni. But they had a 4-story apartment on the corner of 78th and Metropolitan Avenue.
Right.
4 floors, 2 families a floor, 1 phone number for the 8
Right.
Wow.
And it's for John. John, you got a phone call, Larocchia. So freaking cool.
Yep.
And they did it.
And that's
And they
the
were
thing.
happy.
And I think that's the wonderful and amazing thing about comedy changing tragedy. And that's what connects us as human beings. So I think that making people laugh is a gift. It's in spirituality, we call it sacred reciprocity, right? So you give and you receive. There's that constant idea.
Oh yeah, it's a high. It's a high.
is.
When you have a good set, it is a high. I drove 7 hours to Pennsylvania to do a volunteer firehouse in the middle of nowhere. They put me up in the crappiest hotel you could ever see. I got on stage and I made fun of that hotel for 20 minutes. Somebody slashed 3 of my tires.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
I go to
God.
go home. I had a new pair of pants. They helped me rip my pants. I said, I'm not going back to that hotel now. As I drove away with these 3 used tires they got from a junkyard and ripped pants, I said, but man, I was funny tonight.
Yeah.
I was still on a high
Right.
after all that stress after the show. And that's what laughter can do.
Right.
It does. It changes your whole brain chemistry.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really
And that's
really
why
does.
it is the best medicine. And like Marianne said, we now know through science and all this new research we can do on the brain just how powerful that laughter is. And I remember with my mom passed away 3 years ago of ALS.
Oh, boy.
And eventually, but I never look at her life as a tragedy because she didn't. Like eventually, you can't speak, you can't use your face, you can't laugh. But you could tell, like when we would sit around and tell jokes and tell old stories and, just hang out with her. And she loved being with her grandkids who were hilarious and still are hilarious. Our littlest nephew, Brooks, is like, the kid is...
They're the best.
They
They're the
are,
best.
aren't
they
they
live
the
right in the
best?
corner. My
Yeah.
2 grandchildren right in the corner.
And
So I
that-
just walk up there anytime I want. I don't know if they like that, but I do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's kiss the baby, right?
kiss
Yeah,
the
kiss
baby.
the baby. My mom had colon cancer.
Wow.
Never complained. She had
Yep.
the colostomy, the bag. Is
Yes.
that what it's called? The colostomy,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And go out, senior centers, whatever. This woman never complained.
Complained.
I would have been crying every friggin' day. And on her deathbed, she had a surgery in the Poconos. She wasn't doing well. I called her, and she called me from her cell phone, from the hospital bed, laying there, And she says, "Oh, Johnny, you come back up because 2-hour ride. You come back up. Yeah, you don't have to come up today. And don't worry about it. You don't have to call me back. Just." I would have been like, "Get up here!" Right?
Right.
Call me 10 times, right? Oh, it's okay, Unbelievable woman, and I could hear her laugh at every comedy show.
Yeah.
No matter if there was 200 people there, I could hear my mom laughing.
Yeah.
You know what? I have such an image of you doing shows and like the guys that were lost, like hearing John has a show tonight and like being in
Well,
the back.
I could hear them doing just the opposite, going, "You still suck." That's what they would be doing.
Right. He's got a show.
I was on Good Day New York and my phone, I forgot to shut my vibrator off. It was vibrating the whole time I'm doing the interview. And I get off, it's all these idiots from the firehouse calling me while they're watching me on TV,
Right.
figuring I didn't shut off my phone. This is who they were.
Yeah,
and
such a
they
brotherhood.
Made me laugh. They
yeah,
made me laugh.
such
Yeah.
a beautiful
So
brotherhood.
we'll make people laugh in their name, as long as I can.
So as we come to the end of this section, I really do want to see you live. And
Yes,
in person.
August
absolutely.
18th.
And also tell us other ways that we can contact you, find out more about you, John.
LaughterSavesLives.org. Go on there. It tell you mostly everything you need to know. If you want to friend me on Facebook, it's John Larocchia, LAROCCHIA. Laughter Saves Lives has their own Facebook page. You can go on there.
Fantastic.
And we are here at Paradise Studios every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock for Laughter Saves Lives Live. My favorite guests are our heroes from around the country. We just had a gentleman from Wisconsin last night whose daughter was one of the only ones from Wisconsin that was lost in the Trade Center, her first day ever in New York City. And they built a beautiful memorial out there. We're going out. We're going to do a show. We're going to raise some money to maintain the memorial. But we have average people. And every once in a while, we had Lou Gossett Jr. We had the guy from Happy
Fantastic.
Days, Anson Williams. So we get some big guests sometimes, but my favorite ones are the gentlemen like we had last night.
Yeah,
And we
amazing.
make you laugh. We have a comic or two on, and we have a good time.
And that's what we found with doing this show, is that it's there's brilliant famous people, mostly from the past when you're talking about wisdom, and there are today too.
Sure.
But it's really the wisdom of everyday people, I think, that touches us the
Yes,
most. It's
yes.
not, and it's what also inspires people
It does.
to be bigger
Yep.
than they are. I think when we talk about heroes, when we talk about first responders, when you do your show, you're a hero. Not just because you were a first responder, but it's heroic to take the chance to go out and develop foundations and do things for other people and make people laugh. Laughter always makes people feel
Does.
better, and we can tell by the way you make us laugh here that it's not the laughter of making fun of someone.
Only me. I make fun of me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Yeah, don't-
and as a comic, I find that, and I never make fun of the audience. If the audience doesn't laugh, it's my fault. And they get back on your side pretty quick. But if you make fun of them, you're gonna lose them. I don't know how much time we have. Jack Clune, August 18th, one of our hero comics.
Yes.
Young man had, I don't know how many transplants as a kid, liver, all his teeth, was a mess.
Oy.
And then as he got older, decided he wanted to be a FDNY EMT. He became an FDNY EMT 2 months before COVID hit.
Oh,
Wow.
This kid was responding to death after death
Wow.
after death. Any Facebook page you saw with him on it, a smile.
wow.
Wow.
A smile. He's going to be on the show August 18th. He's an awesome friggin' story and a funny kid. And that's what I want to do with this tour. Highlight people like that who are funny, who are doing comedy, but are also our heroes.
Yes.
And I think that's the beauty of it. Of laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
Is also a lot of the laughter that's so medicinal comes from your stories. It is the fact that you're willing to tell your story in a way that only makes fun of you.
Right. Now, if Jack was here right now, I'd be busting his balls left and right. And he loves it. At the firehouse, if they're not making fun of you, they don't like you.
Right.
That's right.
They don't
They
like
Sign
say
of
that.
love.
Yeah, we are adopted into a Cheyenne Native American family, and they say the same thing. It's exactly the same
Yeah.
thing. And I think it's funny how people who come from situations of great tragedy, it often is that it's always striking to us how we have this image of the stoic Indian, the guy. Remember the old commercials about the trash with the one
tear,
tear coming down, and that is not all the way it is when you're actually in that community. Because just like my parents, when you come from great tragedy, and you come from a background even of quote unquote poverty where you really had to struggle to survive, often those stories are the funniest, and they are the ones that connect us most as human beings.
The other day I met for breakfast with a bunch of retired guys from Hazmat One who knew all the guys we lost. Pretty much everybody at that breakfast. We took a picture afterwards, all of us standing there smiling, and I put a Facebook post and I said, these are my heroes. These are the guys that carried me through my darkest days.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here. But what did we do at that breakfast? We laughed, we broke each other's chops, and just like the guys that we lost who would love to have been at that breakfast and are happy that we are meeting and laughing. And they're happy that I'm doing shows, I'm almost sure of it, and making people laugh, because that's how they would want to be remembered. The sadness is there, but let's get people to laugh. And that's why these times with the whole politics and COVID and everybody is so stressed, I just try to push that all out of the way. There's enough of that. Come watch our show on Tuesday nights. Come to our show and laugh. No politics, no nonsense. Just come and have a good time.
So wonderful. And we'll be there. We're going to come and have a good time on August 18th. One more time. Where is it again?
Brokerage Comedy Club.
That's the 18th?
Belmore, August 18th, a Wednesday night. LaughterSavesLives.org to buy tickets. But I have 2 tickets in the car for you guys.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
You, Maddi,
we're
we've
there.
got a date. That's
Yay!
Yay.
Thanks for having me, guys. This
Oh,
was
it was
fun.
wonderful.
Oh, thank
It was
you.
fun. I'll come back again if you hug me.
Yeah.
You got next week open? Next week?
No, but we
I'm
do
supposed
want
to
to
be at
have you
Stop
come
and
back.
Shop right now, so now I have to come up with an excuse. Because I didn't tell my wife I was coming back to the studio. I knew she would have got mad. You going out again to the studio? So I got a list. I got to make sure I buy everything.
We'll make sure. What's your wife's name?
Paula.
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 He's on his way to Stop and Shop
Paula
from here
Ann.
because we're closing up. I promise.
Well, it's Christina's 28th birthday today, my daughter, who laughs, makes us laugh. She's another one. She's a psych nurse doing God's work. 3 years ago, she tried to commit suicide, my daughter, and came out of it after being locked up for 10 days. A father to bring his daughter to a place like that. And she made me laugh every day I visited her there. And she's doing God's work with these patients because she can relate.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And she's one of the funniest people I know.
Well,
Just-
what's her name again?
Christina Marie, 28th
Christina
birthday.
Marie. We'd love to have you on the show to talk
She
about
would love
that.
to come on.
We would love to do that.
Yeah.
We do talk a lot about the tragedy of,
Oh, she would love it. She's a
of-
talker.
for young people
She
right
doesn't shut up. She's
now. We're going to
she'll
have to
come
give her
on.
the talking sign, right? With the little hands. I know you can't see that in the audience, but we're going to have to give her the talking sign.
just let Bobby know. She'll definitely come on.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, John, for being
Thank you.
here. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the heroes out there, all the first responders, all those who serve us, and thank you to Bobby Lucera,
Yes.
our wonderful producer, and everyone here at Strong Island Entertainment. And we will see you all next week.
Good
Thank
night.
you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.